On May 1, 1917, Ulric Cross was born in Belmont, Port of Spain, Trinidad, to Reginald Rufus and Maud Iris Cross. He was the second child in a family of 9. At the age of 11, he sat the Trinidad Exhibition Scholarship Examination and topped the exam, thus qualifying for 5 years of free secondary education. He went on to attend St. Mary's College. He was devastated by the death of his mother, when he was just 13 years old. His academic focus was completely derailed, and so, after completing 5 years of college education, he left school. His first job was with the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian newspaper as a copy editor. Then he worked for as a clerk to Leo Pujadas, solicitor. When Cross turned 21, he joined the civil service and worked for a while with the Trinidad Government Railways. In 1941, at the age of 24, Ulric Cross and his good friend Kenrick Rawlins, together with 250 other Trinidadian men, left the shores of Trinidad and Tobago to sail to England, to become airmen in the Royal Air Force. Cross was so struck by the ignorance of the Englishmen, when he reported for duty in London, he and Rawlins duped their RAF superiors into treating them as if they were African royalty. The English actually thought the Rawlins was an African prince and Cross his spokesperson. The satirical wheeze resulted in an English corporal making the beds for them in the barracks. West Indians fighting for Britain against Hitler's Germany were relied on for their bravery, but racism prevailed. In 1943, his good friend and buddy Rawlins was lost without a trace in the North Sea on a subsequent sortie to Berlin. Out of 250 Trinidadians, 52 of them died. And to make matters worse, West Indians and Asians in the Royal Air Force had not been recognized. Cross, a navigator, went on to become the most decorated West Indian serviceman in the Second World War. Ian is credited with helping prevent 200 bombers from being shot down in a bombing raid over Germany in 1943. He and his pilot limped home from the mission after one engine was shot out and their plane crash-landed in a quarry in Norfolk.
I was a member of the elite Pathfinder force that perfected techniques for precision main force bombing. We did a lot of low-level daylight bombing. Man, it was a thrill. As your adrenaline rushed, we flew at just 50 feet instead of the normal 25,000 feet. We dropped 4 500-pound bombs. You flew into the target at 50 feet and as you approached it, you went up to 1,200 feet. You then did a shallow dive onto the target and released your bombs. The bombs had an 11 seconds delay, so you shot up to avoid the bomb blast. We went over in formation and we bombed in formation, but we came back independently.
Cross flew 80 missions over Germany and occupied Europe as Navigator fighter bomber and was the model for the black character, squadron leader Charles Ford, in Ken Follett novel, Hornet Flight.
We were returning from a bombing raid in Germany.
We were accompanied by the Americans on this run. After we obliterated our targets, with our wooden Mosquito planes, we were chased by the enemy boogies. As squadron commander, I glanced aft, starboard side, and realized that they were closing in fast. I instructed my squadron to roam Tango Bravo, while as the navigator, relayed to my captain.
Break away! Break away! Dive! 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 Starboard side!
Our Mosquito dove, as the enemy bandits were blocked by us, as we challenged them into a dogfight, as the rest of the squadron, about 200 planes, got enough time to distance themselves. We hurriedly did our best to get out of there, but our port engine was shot out by the enemy. We limped back to base and crash-landed in Norfolk. We the Trinis knew 10 times more about the British than they knew about us. I, Ulric Cross, who was the son of a post office worker from Port of Spain, Trinidad, is saying to you, they really did not know us, they did not know what to do with us. Kids in the street would ask us the time, just to hear our accent. They have never spoken to a black person before. While in pre-World War II, we in Trinidad were aware of the political turmoil in Europe in the late 1930s, we had already read Mein Kampf, we knew Kristallnacht. When the Jewish businesses in Germany were attacked and looted, we were appalled by the Italian invasion of Ethiopia in 1953 and the Spanish Civil War in 1936, the world was drowning in fascism. We the West Indians, were not as ignorant as people in Europe thought.
After the war, Ulric Cross studied law and was called to the bar under the aegis of Middle Temple, London, on January 26, 1949. He then returned to Trinidad where, from 1949 to 1953, he was legal advisor to the Comptroller of Imports and Exports, Trinidad and Tobago. He also lectured in trade union history at the University of the West Indies, located in Trinidad. He subsequently returned to London, and worked for some time as a producer for talks and the famed Caribbean Voices at BBC in 1953 to 1957.
I practiced law in Ghana, Cameroon, and Tanzania from 1958 to 1960. I worked closely with Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, where I was senior Crown Counsel. I lectured in criminal law at Ghana Law School. I served in West Cameroon, I was Senior Crown Counsel, Attorney General and a Member of Cabinet. The House of Chiefs and the House of Assembly Avocat General at the Federal Court of Cameroon. I became a High Court judge in Tanzania, where I was Chairman of the Labour Tribunal. I was also Professor at Law in the University of Dar es Salaam.
Cross returned to Trinidad in 1971, to serve as a High Court judge. In 1979 he was elevated to the Court of Appeal. He then became chairman of the Law Reform Commission of Trinidad and Tobago from 1982 to 83. In the United Kingdom from 1990 to 93, he served as High Commission for Trinidad and Tobago at the Courts of St. James, combining the position with the ambassador to both Germany and France. Previously, he had been appointed chairman of the Commonwealth Foundation in 1983. He co-founded the Cotton Tree Foundation with Desmond RMSC in 1993. He served as president of the Royal Air Force Association Trinidad and Tobago Branch No. 1075. He inspired the vision to build a military veterans complex, for all veterans of military services at 20 Queen's Park East, Belmont, Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. Ulric Cross died at the age of 96 on October 4, 2013.
Squadron leader Philip Louis Ulric Cross was the recipient of many awards. In Trinidad and Tobago, he was awarded the Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the nation's highest award. In June 2011, the Piarco Air Guard Station was renamed Ulric Cross Air Station. He also received the Heroes Foundation First Heroes Medallion. In 2012 a comic book named And Justice for All was published in his honor. A movie called Hero was also released. During active service he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross and the Distinguished Service Order.